Hello, church, and welcome to the Invite Podcast, a ministry of Williams Boulevard Baptist Church, where we try to set aside a few minutes each week to encourage you along the journey of following Jesus today. My name is Pastor Sean, and this is
Brian Lemons.
And we are leading the podcast today while Pastor Tim is out on sabbatic. Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do here at Williams Boulevard? What's your role here?
So I am the associate worship leader here, and I help lead worship, and I do all the behind the stuff as well. Not everything, but most. Doing sound, helping with the live stream, so on and so forth.
So you help lead worship. I know you lead worship on some Sundays and on Wednesdays, and you do a lot of technical things too. So you're trying to help us improve our sound and make strides forward. We definitely appreciate that. One of the things that I wanted you to share with us today is about when you began to hear God's call into worship ministry in your life and how that took shape and what have the results of that been. So why don't you share a little bit of that with us?
So in high school, I was transitioning churches, and I started going to First Baptist Houghton because one of my relatives had passed away, and as we were transitioning, we didn't know what church to go to, and since our relatives went there, we were like, hey, why not give it a try? So as we went there, I went to the youth group, and there was a moment of the service that had worship, and I was expecting a full team, and that wasn't the case. 2 people got up, and I was like, what in the world? Because before that, I've been in churches that would have a full band, and worship was top of the charts, and I was like, man, this is fantastic. But then I get here, and it's like 2 people. It was very different for me. So
So what'd you do?
So I was sitting there, and I was thinking, I was like, 1, this is awkward. 2, I was thinking, how can I help out? Because I've already helped out with other churches with piano, and I was thinking, how can I help out with them? And so the more and more I thought about it, I was like, all right, I feel like I need to go to the pastor, and I talked to him. I was like, hey, can I help serve? Because I feel like God's calling me to help out, and I think it's an important thing for me to do. And he was like, yeah, sure. And so
let me get this straight. You came to a new church, and you saw they had some weaknesses in their worship team, and you didn't leave.
Yeah.
But you tried to be a part of the solution. You wanted to bring your gifts to help to improve the situation of worship there.
Yes, and there was a time where I was like, this is not it.
It's a natural instinct. I think, oftentimes we will come into a church environment and we see some needs that are there, and maybe it's because of our consumer culture. We want to tend to, let's just find a church that has what we want.
Yeah.
Instead of, I've got these gifts that God has given me. Why don't I offer them to help to improve this? God gave me a vision to see a need. So why don't I be a part of fulfilling that need? So that's a great encouragement. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go on with your story.
No, that's not good. But yeah, as I was thinking, I was like, I can just leave, and this wouldn't be the church for me. I sat there thinking, I was like, this really needs to be changed, because if I'm going to be a part of this church, it's something that I feel like needs to be grown, because I was like, this church, they probably only experience not much worship for younger people. And so I was thinking, maybe this would be a good opportunity to God move through the youth and to grow, and people to experience what it's like to build a worship team and know how to worship.
So you went to the pastor, and the pastor said, sure, why don't you help out? What did that look like? Why don't you help us understand that?
So before that church that I went to, I've played piano, but as I got there, I was thinking, okay, I just kind of want to put my foot in the door, maybe start out small. So I started playing the cajon, which is a little box that you hit on and make a little beat with that.
It's like a drum box.
Yeah. And there was another guitarist, so he was playing guitar, and another girl that sang, and I was playing on the cajon. And when someone saw that I was wanting to help out, they came to me because they saw a random dude out of nowhere on the first Wednesday, thinking that they wanted to help out, and then the next Wednesday they were on the stage helping out. They're like, maybe I can do that, and I was like, yeah, sure, come on.
So your obedience inspired other people's obedience.
Yes.
And willingness to offer themselves.
Yeah, or at least what I think. Yeah. um, they came to me and was like, "Hey, I know how to sing. I know how to play other instruments." And found another guy in the church that also knew how to play the bass, and he was doing that as well. And so it just seemed like week by week we had people that wanted to help out and play their instruments. I mean, we got a bassist, pianist, guitarist, and drummer. I was like, we've got a full band. And from that point on, ever since we got the drummer, I hopped off the cajon and started playing acoustic guitar as well and singing. Before that, I didn't have any singing experience, so who knows how that
really?
might have
That's
been.
when you first began to sing?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. Brian's a good singer. So let me understand this then. So you were willing to be a part of improvement, and then your willingness sounds like it was contagious, and a full worship crew developed out of that. So what then come next? What was it like when you left First Houghton? Why did you leave, and where are you now?
Well, first of all, I think it was God that was, well, of course it was God, but like I thank God for, trying to push people to actually start leading and doing that. But when I was leaving, I was a little bit scared, because I was going to college and I was afraid that, it would die off when I leave. And I didn't want that to happen. And I told them, I was like, whenever I leave, I want y'all to be self-sustainable so that you can lead worship by yourself and, know how to praise God to the best of your ability without, having someone there to lead you. Because, doesn't matter where you are on the worship team or any position, it's important for everybody to step up and help out.
So you tried to make arrangements that when you left, the ministry would remain strong and would continue on, and that is the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from what I've seen on Facebook, they're still doing good.
Still doing well. That's wonderful. Well, where are you now? You're here.
Yeah.
But why are you here?
So I was in high school thinking I was going to be an engineer. That didn't turn out so well. Wanted to do music, and then I was thinking I was going to stay local in Bossier City. And my mom was like, "Hey, have you heard about New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary?" I was like, "No idea."
And so you're at an OBTS now.
Yes.
What is your major?
I am getting my bachelor's in music with the emphasis in worship.
All right.
Yeah.
An emphasis in worship music. All right. That sounds very good. So we've heard where you come from and how you began to see God work in your life.
Yeah.
And in a way that was not just about meeting your needs.
Yeah.
But you saw a need in the church and you offered yourself to try and make a difference.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the consequences of that offer, the consequences of what you did, is that a ministry developed and a ministry grew out of it.
Yeah.
As well as you.
Yeah. I always try to encourage everybody, if you like feel like there's a need anywhere in the church, it's always important, go to someone and talk to them, be like, "Hey, I want to get involved and help out," because in any part, like when I was helping out with the youth, if I saw that there wasn't a drummer, I would try to hop on the cajon and, add that. Or if someone wasn't playing the piano, I'll play the piano. And so as for anybody in the church, I feel like, if you see a need in the church, I feel like you should step up. Like if God's calling you to do that, and step up, just ask and, use your gifts or use your abilities to do as much as you can to, help out the church.
That's very good, Brian. I believe wholeheartedly that God has a purpose for each of us in our lives. He wants to use us for the benefit of his kingdom. That is a purpose in our lives and in our churches. And oftentimes we do. We come to churches and we see needs and there's different responses. And I believe that the best response is that when you see a need, try to offer yourself to be a part of what's needed to make that improvement. And we hear your story about how God called you into ministry, and how even when that wasn't fully you didn't fully understand yet what that meant, God was blessing it, and God blessed that church through it and brought it to a place of sustainability before he called you on for a whole nother level of training and another opportunity to serve as well. And we're definitely glad to have Brian serving here in ministry at Williams Boulevard. He is a pleasure to work alongside. I will certainly say that. He's got a very humble spirit, and he's a very gifted person. So I want to encourage you, if you hear God calling you in your life, if you see some places in need, whether it's in the church or in your community in some way, don't hesitate to put your yes on the altar and respond to God. Offer yourself to him. Love him with your heart, with your soul, your mind, and all of your strength. Give yourself to him, and he will bless that ministry, and there's no telling where he might bring you as a result of that, where he might lead you. We hope that you were encouraged today by Brian's testimony. We want to offer that if you have any comments, please write a comment in our comment box. Check, subscribe, or like our post, and we do hope to see you on Sunday. Have a blessed day.